Hello.
Hey. We're connected. We have...
Hey there.
Council of the City of Clarksburg to be held today, Thursday, April 6, 2023, at the Clarksburg Municipal Building, Council Chambers, 222 West Main Street, Clarksburg, West Virginia, at 6 p.m.
Will Hyman.
I'm here.
Gary Key.
Here.
Jim Alphajoe.
Here.
Jerry Riffle.
Here.
Wayne Worth.
Here.
Vice Mayor Junkins. Mayor Marie.
Here.
This evening, we have our prayer and our pledge by Councilmember Warren.
Bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, please guide us in the decisions that we make this evening. Please make sure they're sound, and please make sure that they benefit not only just, the people that are interested in the room, but also benefit the 15,000 residents that we have here in our city. But most importantly, Lord, please let us be a reflection of your Son's love in the world outside of these chambers, through loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval minutes of the regular session of March 16th.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye.
Approval of the minutes of the special session of March 22nd.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye.
Petitions, communications, and public hearings. Andrew Hurst of 56.5 Watkins Lane wishes to address council concerning city employees, homelessness, where the city money goes, street cleanups, jobs, ordinances, and rehabilitation programs.
I'm sorry, I moved. I just
Yeah, just come to the podium, please.
Sorry, I talked a little too fast. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Like city employees, I spent 3 hours today walking around talking to people about different subjects of what can better the community, what can't better the community, what police doing, what not doing. Some people say the police are not the city of Clarksburg police are not doing their job. I personally had experiences where the cops are not doing their job. I talked today about the one guy who said he lives up beside Hillbilly. Tell me that Clarksburg police has come over there because he caught about homelessness, but the people stealing from him, stuff like that. Clarksburg PD come over there, just barely rolled their window down and talked to, and just basically asked what happened, told them to leave, and they left. And again, I talked to Harris County Sheriff's Department on my own personal experience on this, where Harris County Sheriff's Department said that when you move to Clarksburg, drugs, and needles on the ground is what comes in when you move into Clarksburg. That's a poor excuse. I'm sorry, I talk different now, I talk about the cuss, not like that. That's a poor excuse of saying that I don't want to do my job. That's a poor excuse of saying that. I came in here personally, in my own experience, after I talked to Gizzy Davis, Master Gizzy Davis, someone come here and talk to him about a woman trying to hit me with her car about me getting harassed. I talked to the state police. State police sergeant talked to them and told me that harassment is not against the law, which harassment is against the law. I come here and talk to the city employee, Detective Swagger. I actually asked me what I want. I told him I was going to come talk to Detective Weber. That's what Master Gizzy Davis told me to do. He walks upstairs, come back down, and it tells me that he doesn't handle what people get hit me with the car, that he doesn't deal with that. That's patrol officer. I said, well, I talked to patrol officer, Gizzy Davis, come talk to you. He told me again. I told him again. I said that state police told me to look at that it's not a crime for harassment. It's a civil matter. I said they told me to sue. So I said that's what Sergeant told me to do. He told me to sue. He says, well, since you threatened to sue, leave and don't ever come back here again. This is my personal experience of twice me getting thrown out of a city building by Clarksburg Police Department. Again, where I call says someone's harassed me, city police says videotape it. It's not my job to videotape a crime happening to me. It's not my job. It's not other people's job in the city to walk around with a video camera in their hand all day, wondering if their crime is going to happen to them. That's not their job. That's not our job as a citizen. That's why we pay taxes. That's why we got cops for it. And I even talked to another lady today about homelessness. They said that there's not enough programs. I agree, there's not enough programs. They talk about how the mission over there, the mission only has like 30 people. There's more than 30 people homeless in this county. And again, sorry, I jump a lot. I'm sorry, my mind rambles. I apologize. Where there's not being homeless, not being none of this, which I agree with about rehabilitation. We put homeless people or drug addicts into like the missions like that to get them clean, but as soon as they get clean, we kick them right back on the street to an environment that's causing them to do drugs. We're not rehabilitating nobody. We're not setting up drug programs. We're not setting up, supportive to say, hey, we got you off drugs. We're going to try to help you get you a job. Maybe we'll help you try to get you a place. We're not doing that. And again, I've seen different things where city council members, even in the past, said, well, they end up money for this, end up money for that. Well, Longhorn just paid taxes, paid fees, paid permits. That's millions of dollars. Where's that money go to? The money's not going nowhere. I don't see it. There's strangers still in the streets. In downtown Clarksburg, they say the city employees put trash cans up to people throw their trash in. But like they said, the trash cans overflow with garbage. And I personally notice when I walk around all day, and I personally notice myself where them trash cans are not getting emptied. They'd be weeks at a time before them trash cans get emptied. Trash be all over the ground, over the floor, and everything else. And the city employees are not doing their job. Some people say that where the city itself is neglecting Clarksburg, which I agree with, because the city of Clarksburg really, we're pushing business up on any job where we know we're going to get money, but we're not doing it with the buildings that we're tearing down over here now. Look at Glen Oak. Glen Oak got a bunch of abandoned buildings laying around with demolition signs on them, condemned and everything else, but we're not doing nothing. So I like to know where the money went to, and we had Rachel Romano, who is a prosecuting attorney, who I even seen this in Clarksburg Express Telegram, W. Water, everything else, even itself. Sorry, I'm hard to talk. Sorry, even itself reported on it, where she represented cases with her husband as the arresting officer. The oath that she took states that you cannot. That's a conflict of interest. You cannot represent a case where you're related to the witness, married to the witness, having sex with the witness, or any other communication with the witness in which she was doing that, violated her oath, and she became the head prosecuting attorney in Clarksburg. I'm confused where I'm getting at where about the city employees like that is where ex-chief Hilliard's son murdered a man downtown Clarksburg, beating him to death. He gets a 3 to 15 in prison for manslaughter. Even admitted that it was a drug deal going bad, that a woman caught and told him to do it, and that's the reason why he did it. And Rachel Romano gave him a 3 to 15, her office did. Well, I'm confused because a lady just got arrested about a year ago, whatever it was, that Wazinski girl who didn't murder nobody, didn't beat on no kid, wasn't even around when it happened, and she got a 15 to life. So I'm really confused where the Constitution says we are the people, but we are the people who are getting neglected, I would say. Getting neglected while, how hierarchies, as in the government officials and their family, are getting a pat on the back, getting nothing, nothing's getting done to them or anything. And I'm just confused where the ordinances around here are supposed to be about the people or how they're better than the city, but it's not better than the city. It's better than the government officials. It's better than their family. And I said this again because I even talked to someone before, and where this is exactly the example right here, where City council tried to pass an ordinance that states that they want a pay raise. Well, then another person told me that works for the city told me that city council can't pass bills that basically they gain from. Well, and y'all see y'all get free healthcare. Well, if y'all get free healthcare, I don't see where y'all should need a pay raise. I'm just saying, because you know what I mean. Like other people who gets cancer, they don't get free healthcare. Their healthcare don't pay for that. They got to go out and pay for it.
Can you kind
Oh,
of
I'm
wrap it
sorry.
up? Your
I'm
time
sorry.
is-
Yeah, so that's just what I was want to understand. What are we doing about homelessness? What are we doing about fair, equal rights, even to the public that are not family members of city officials? What are we doing about rehabilitation programs, and what are we doing about the city not cleaning up the drugs and stuff like that that's going around? I personally witnessed myself the stuff that's happened.
Thanks.
From Harris County Sheriff's Department, Clarksburg PD, and Ray Romano's office.
When time comes on council comments, so if these guys want to speak to that, they can address you. at
Okay,
that
I appreciate it.
Thank you now.
Chris Lane wishes to address council.
Just wanted to touch base with everyone here. I know it seems like off and on I've had to come up and speak about the flooding, the issues that's went on over in our neighborhood. Am curious if there has been any updates. The last update I heard is that there's a walkthrough done over there in the street with the contractor with DEP. I did have a meeting here with the city manager and some of the city staff, where I feel it was acknowledged that there was errors done by the contractor in the project. Just looking to get an update and a little bit of a timeline on when repairs are going to be made. This has been an ongoing issue for multiple years now, so I was curious for an update.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
City managers report and update.
From the manager's office. Economic Development would like to remind everyone about First Fridays this week. Transportation Alternatives and Recreation Trail Program grant provided by the West Virginia DOT did not receive funding this year. All monies awarded in the North Central West Virginia area were for construction projects, with all projects occurring in the Morgantown area. Staff will resubmit applications later in the year for the 23-24 funding. From the police department. For the month of March, the police department responded to 2,094 calls for service. 4 new officers will graduate on May the 12th from the West Virginia State Police Academy. Starting April 1st, 2023, a new recognition and awards program has been put into place for the officers. From the park board was notified that they have been awarded the pickleball/tennis court renovation grant from the Land and Water Conservation Fund in the amount of $175,000. Once the contract documents are received from the West Virginia Development Office, executed and returned, we can move forward with this project that will hopefully begin late summer or early fall. The lighting issue at Frank Loria Field has been resolved, and 38 Special will be the first show of the year at the AMP on June the 9th. Ticket sales are underway. Additional shows will be announced as they approach. From the wastewater treatment plant, for the month of March, there were no violations to report. The process treated approximately 301 million gallons of wastewater. The plant received 283,000 gallons of septic, and the plant brought in a total of $14,698 from revenue from all sources. Breckenridge was there on April the 4th and installed the last non-potable pump for the Phase 4 LTCP. The NPDES permit submitted last May has been drafted, and the DEP has posted it in the Clarksburg Exponent for public comment. The public comment period will run until May the 4th. The Sanitary Board has reposted an RFP looking for a law firm to provide services for the Sanitary Board. This RFP will run in the Clarksburg Exponent, Dominion Post, Wheeling Intelligencer, and the Charleston Gazette Sunday papers. The last date for submission is April the 27th. From the fire department responded to 284 calls for service for the month of March. The testing process has been started for the ranking lieutenant to fill the vacancy left by Lieutenant Jeff Rogers' retirement. The EMR testing was concluded last week and marked with great success. From the Robinson Graham, the iconic searchlights have been repaired and are now fully functional. There are 6 ticketed events scheduled for the month of April and 1 theater rental as well as Pierpont Health Science pinning ceremony and the Salem University graduation. From Code Enforcement issued 58 building permits for a total job cost of $667,558, 33 notices of violation, 1 citation, 2 condemnation orders, 10 reboards, 83 inspection, 32 animal control complaints, and 13 C-click fix inspections. Code enforcement would also like to remind property owners that they are responsible for tall grass and trash on their properties from Public Works. Spring cleanup has been completed with 61 loads or 93.5 tons of waste for a total cost of $3,409. Compost is ready for the new upcoming season. Grass cutting and weeding along right-of-ways in public areas have been ongoing. From the Finance Department for the month of March, they collected B&O tax in the amount of $73,907, police citations in the amount of $9,521, building permit fees of $9,165, board ups of $451, grass and garbage removal $617, vacant property registration fees of $5,061, fire service fees of $53,382, payment agreements $2,964, demo payments of $19,121, business license and penalties $4,523, and 23 new business licenses were issued. The audit report for fiscal year 21-22 was received and no audit findings reported. As a final comment, I would like to commend the police, fire, and public works department for all their work they accomplished during the 2 weekends in a row that high winds closed roads and streets with debris and downed trees. No one was injured and all streets were cleared as quickly as possible. That concludes my report.
Unfinished business, consideration of third and final reading and public hearing of an ordinance authorizing design and other pre-construction activities relating to the acquisition and construction of additions, betterments, and improvements to the existing public waterworks system of the city of Clarksburg and the financing of the cost, not otherwise provided thereof, through the issuance by the city of not more than $1 million in aggregate principal amount of waterworks system design revenue bonds, Series 2023B, West Virginia DWTRF program, not more than $1 million in aggregate principal amount of waterworks system design revenue bonds, Series 2023C, West Virginia DWTRF program forgivable, providing for the rights and remedies of and security for the registered owners of such bonds, authorizing execution and delivery of all documents relating to the issuance of such bonds, approving, ratifying, and confirming loan agreement relating to such bonds, authorizing the sale and providing for the terms and provisions of such bonds, and adopting other provisions relating thereto. Notices regarding the public hearing appeared in the Expletive Telegram on March 22nd and March 29th.
I will now open the public hearing for this ordinance. Anyone wanting to speak for or against this ordinance may do so at this time. Nobody wishing to, I'll close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Then moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Consideration of third and final reading and public hearing of an ordinance authorizing design and other pre-construction activities relating to the acquisition and construction of additions, betterments, and improvements to the existing public waterworks system of the city of Clarksburg and the financing of the costs not otherwise provided thereof through the issuance by the city of not more than $2 million in aggregate principal amount of waterworks system design revenue bonds, Series 2023A, West Virginia DWTRF program, providing for the rights and remedies of and security for the registered owners of such bonds, authorizing execution and delivery of all documents relating to the issuance of such bonds, approving, ratifying, and confirming a loan agreement relating to such bonds, authorizing the sale and providing for the terms and provisions of such bonds, and adopting other provisions relating thereto. Notices regarding the public hearing appeared as previously stated.
I will now open this public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this ordinance may do so at this time. No one wishing to speak for or against, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
New business, consideration of first reading of an ordinance to approve current replacement pages to the codified ordinances.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the City of Clarksburg to amend Section 745 to add a tax credit for certain new retail business location within the Central Business District.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and second. Any discussion on this? This was an ordinance that was created to help businesses in downtown to give a tax incentive to do that. And hopefully this will help spur some redevelopment in the downtown. That's it. We have a first and a second. All in favor? Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the City of Clarksburg to create Section 115.16 Rules of Attendance for council members.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and second. Discussion? Any discussion? I'd like this one. I do have some concern on this. And I would like to ask, I guess, the city attorney who helped draft this up, if a council person has an illness or they can't attend the meeting, who do they notify with that?
They don't have to notify anybody, technically speaking. The way there was concern during the last work session about disclosing that information. If the council member wanted to let anybody know, they could let the clerk know, and they're able to provide with the clerk whatever information they want to. The clerk at that point is to keep that information confidential, other than that they called in and said they will not be there, until such time that it becomes an issue that council would want to move forward to try to petition to remove them. So the idea was, I was trying to, when I wrote it, was trying to weigh that concern that was raised at the last council meeting over, well, why do I have to report and say why I'm not there? And I thought that would be a mechanism that the clerk could hold that. You don't have to turn it over. That's information that can be provided later. To me, that information wasn't really relevant until such time that the council started to move forward and try to remove it. At that point, they could look at that, could ask the clerk, Madam Clerk, were there any excuses for why councilman whoever has missed 75% of meetings? And obviously the clerk could say, oh yes, they provide this, and once council looked at that, council members may say, well, we don't want to move forward with that, that makes sense. But they can also not say anything, it's entirely up to them, and they can present that later.
Yeah. Well, I remember the last time that this council tried to remove a member who is an elected person. They're not, their employer is not this council. The last time they tried to do that, based upon them trying to remove somebody, I think Mr. Malfajo would know about that, and it ended up costing the city a bunch of money. Is that right, Councilman?
Oh, I don't think it had to do with attendance.
No. Well, it's just a different form of trying to remove an elected
That
official.
was an extenuating circumstance that, I think that's apples and oranges here.
Well,
I mean, I want to say I've been on this council for 9 years, and besides the time I was shot, I've always called Annette and said, I can't make tonight due to I'm either on vacation or I'm sick. So, I don't think it's a big deal to pick up the phone and call Annette and say, I can't make it because of, this circumstance. And she says, can we call you? And sometimes I've done that, but if I'm sick and in bed, you don't feel like it.
So, and that'll be determining if that's a valid excuse.
That's who I always call.
I removed, Charleston recently passed a similar ordinance, and they did excuse unexcused. To me, you're looking at the issue under West Virginia code, and the code says you can petition the circuit courts to remove somebody from neglect of duty. To me, whether it's excused or unexcused in any way is irrelevant, because whether you're sick or you're not, or you're able to come or you can't, you're still not carrying out your duty. So I took away the whole excused versus unexcused process on that situation and left that up to council itself to decide if they can carry out their duty, and they can make that argument in circuit court. I don't believe it's up to the clerk to make that decision. The clerk is merely, I want a mechanism where if somebody wanted to explain why they were doing it and have that available ahead of time, they can provide that to the clerk, and that can provide it at a certain time. The clerk does nothing except record that information privately. And I guess the way that I envisioned it, and I think it's fairly clear from this, is that if someone reached that threshold, council could at that point in time decide they wanted to move to do a resolution to file a petition and trigger the West Virginia Code proceedings. They would put that on the agenda. At that point in time, whoever is against could also speak up for or against it, presumably against it. And they could also point at that time, if they so desire, to have the clerk release that information to say, look, I've explained why this happened. And it's up to you all to determine how you want to move forward. And this is not in the same situation as before when a council member was removed, because in that situation, council tried to act unilaterally to remove the individual. This, all you can do here is pass your resolution saying we want to file our petition to remove this individual under state code, which is a high burden to meet once you go into the next step. So, to me, all you're doing is, you could technically, without passing this ordinance, if you all felt that someone hadn't been here enough, without this ordinance, you could file that resolution right now. All this is trying to do is create some sort of baseline idea for what you all believe is a fair, reasonable attendance policy that would go as, I think, evidence as to whether or not there was neglect of duty or not. And if you look at Charleston, one even acknowledges that in many ways, that's not the end all be all. It is, the decision is merely perhaps evidence of that. So there's nothing, if someone failed to appear at 2 straight meetings, this body could already say, oh, we don't think you're doing anything right, let's pass our resolution. Do I think they'd go anywhere? I would hope not. But this is merely helping you do that. We also wrote in there to deal with these special meetings and such. I think that was a good point, because you could schedule three meetings in a week. And, so here, it's the special meetings are separate apart from the regular meetings.
Yeah. Well, I think a couple years ago, this council, before these new people got on, we passed it was a charter change actually that gave who our employers are is the citizens of Clarksburg, and we passed an ordinance that stated that if the citizens didn't approve of our the way we do business up here, they could recall us. And I think that's who we work for. We don't work for one another on this council, and that's who I want to answer to is to the people, and I don't want to answer to the city clerk or to any other council members or even to you, Richard. I like to answer to the citizens who put us in here, and I think this is different. Our employer is the city of Clarksburg, the residents, not this board. And you start doing this, and that's when I just want to make it note that I'm opposed to this, because I think it opens up doors for lawsuits, and I saw how that worked, and it cost the city. I know it was a different situation, but it ended up costing the city taxpayers who end up paying for this. It cost them thousands of dollars for them trying to remove somebody, and I think we could get into that very easily on here, because I know a lot of people don't want to turn in if they have a mental issue or even a physical issue. They don't want to give that to the city clerk and have that information out there. And so I think we'll open ourselves up, but we'll cross that bridge, I guess, when we come to it. I just wanted to state my objection for that.
Well, we won't be answering anybody besides the circuit court at the end of the day.
Huh?
Ultimately, we'll be answering to the circuit court, right, Richard?
Well, who sends it? We have to send it over there, though.
Yeah, but it's still you answer to the circuit court at the end of the day. Whether you stay up here or you don't stay up here, it'll be up to the circuit court. Nobody up here, not the circuit clerk.
Yeah.
Mr. Ritter, when you were in personnel for the city, who decided whether an employee had made enough time, whether they were absent, or was it the employees themselves? Did they say, nah, he's missed 10 weeks here?
Their
He'll get a
supervisor.
pass.
Their supervisor.
Okay, so, I mean,
yeah, and I agree with
it
that.
worked the same way, in the public school system. The students don't get to decide how many days they miss. That's up to the Board of Education. So, I mean, ultimately, it's a checks and balances system where there's guidelines that we're going to put in place. And, if the need should arise, then we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well, I did the liability for this city for years, and I know what these things come to, and ultimately, the taxpayers end up paying.
In that instance, when there was
like
a council member that was attempted to be removed, there was no baseline for what could be done about this issue at hand. So, with language in the charter or in the ordinance, we can say, okay, well, it clearly states what you need to do to be neglect a duty. And,
Listen.
that wasn't in that situation, and that's why it ended up costing.
I just don't want it to cost
I understand.
taxpayers. I've not missed. It's not going to affect me. I come to every
Well, hopefully
meeting
it doesn't
I
affect
can.
anybody in the future. That's what it's there for.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to state my objection when it comes around. Okay. We have a first and second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. No.
Will Hyman.
Aye.
Gary Keith.
Aye.
Jim Alphajoe.
Aye.
Jerry Riffle.
Aye.
Wayne Worth.
Aye.
Mayor Marino.
No. It passes.
Consideration of a supplemental resolution providing as to principal amount, date, maturity date, redemption provision, interest rate, interest and principal payment dates, sale price, and other terms of the wastewater works system design revenue bond series 2023A West Virginia DWTR program of the city of Clarksburg, approving and ratifying the loan agreement relating to such bonds and the sale and delivery of such bonds to the West Virginia Water Development Authority, designating a registrar, paying agent, and depository bank, and making other provisions as to the bonds.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Consideration of a supplemental resolution providing as to principal amount, date, maturity date, redemption provision, interest rate, principal payment dates, sale price, and other terms of the waterworks system design revenue bond series 2023B West Virginia DWTR lead service line program, and the waterworks system design revenue bonds series 2023C West Virginia DWTRF lead service line program forgivable of the city of Clarksburg, approving and ratifying the loan agreement relating to such bonds and the sale and delivery of such bonds to the West Virginia Water Development Authority, designating a registrar, paying agent, and depository bank, and making other provisions as to the bonds.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
To consider and act upon a proposed raw resolution for the payment of invoices from the proceeds of the Series 2023 A bonds and 2023 B bonds issued by the city's lead service line replacement project.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consideration of appointment to the parking authority.
Mr. Mayor, I move we appoint Mr. Michael Mons to the Parking Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second from Michael Mons. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Consideration of election officials, poll workers for the general nonpartisan election to be held in the city of Clarksburg on Tuesday, June 6, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Council comments?
Council comments, Councilman Malfajoe?
I thank everybody for coming out this evening. Just remember, if you see something, say something, pick up the phone, dial 911. This is first Friday, and weather, it's going to be in high to mid-50s, so no rain. So hope to see everybody out. Everybody have a blessed Easter, and we'll see you next month, or next 2 weeks. It's not the end of the month yet.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Riffle?
Thank everybody for coming out. The gentleman that came and spoke, appreciate you sharing your concerns. I know I'll speak with you after, or I'm sure others will too. First Fridays is coming up tomorrow. A lot of great things. Get on the Facebook page, First Fridays Facebook page, check everything out. The Easter Bunny himself will be there. I'll be bringing him with me. He's going to ride with me in my car. He'll be downtown. I'll be hopping around. Bring your families. Everybody come downtown and experience it. I'm glad we passed the attendance ordinance. And especially to those that just signed up to run for council. When you put your name on the ballot, you have a commitment to the citizens of the city. Show up, be engaged. If you miss 23 meetings over your term, that's way too many, or 24 now. It's just too many. So we have a lot of things to get done, and when you miss meetings, you're not engaged, and we need to get things done. So if your name's on the ballot, you signed up, you should be in these chairs. We got stuff to do. And everybody else have a great weekend.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Ward?
Yeah, I just want to, I appreciate you, sir, for sharing your concerns. When it comes to the drug problem, homelessness, it's a very challenging situation. Myself, I'm a licensed social worker. I've been a social worker for 16 years. I've helped people get into treatment. I've seen people get into treatment. I've seen people go through recovery. I've seen people relapse. And I've seen how a lack of support, in people's individual lives causes a downhill spiral. Now, how can government, intervene in that? I don't know. We do our best. We provide the basics, from public safety to infrastructure to even opportunities. At the end of the day, though, I truly believe that it's a support that people get from families, who are struggling with that. We're here just to try to help organizations, sort of combat some of that stuff. But as a government, we're not the provider of the direct service with that. So, other than that, I think the whole B&O tax incentive first reading, I think that's going to be a huge game changer going on. That we're going to see later on down the road. When you could offer folks that are coming in here to do business and retrofit, buildings into retail, and you could provide them with 3 years straight of 100% B&O tax, free, and then 75, and then 50. I think that's a step in the right direction, and I love to see ordinances on the agenda that speak to this, because I think so many times, business leaders come up to us and they're, you can understand their frustration. And a lot of times we just don't really know the answers. But sometimes when we work together and through persistence from you all, I think, this is sort of the outcome that happens. And hopefully, we'll pass it second reading and be able to implement something that's going to bear fruit for our city for quite some time. I do want to give a special shout out to our Public Works Department for the spring cleanup. We do spring cleanups and fall cleanups. That's a free service we provide to our citizens, where everybody could just put all their junk out, at the side of the road, and Public Works will pick it up for you, free of charge. That usually takes about all hands on deck to do that. And if any of those Public Works guys are out there listening, I thank you. That's a tough job. So, when it comes to the ordinance on, attendance, I kind of look at it this way: if you're serious about being on city council, then you need to show up. That's including me. I've missed a couple of meetings myself, although I have some valid excuses. But if you don't have an excuse, then it doesn't really show that you're real serious about being here. Other than that, I really like this agenda. Most of this agenda was filled with infrastructure measures. And I tell you what, at the end of the day, where the rubber hits the road, when it comes to the city's growth and sustainability, it's making sure that your infrastructure is in shape. And I know a lot of this is, for the bonds for the water board, but, I support infrastructure 100%, because, we want to make sure that the water that we're drinking is lead free, and that every time we flush the toilet, we know where it's going. And that's basic government 101. And that's all I got to say. Happy First Friday.
Have a blessed weekend. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Keith?
I'm not going to make everybody try to listen to me on this phone, so I'm just going to wish everyone a happy and safe Easter and have a good weekend.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Hine?
Thank you. I'd like to send a shout out to Public Works as well. A constituent of mine reached out to me a week or so ago about some issue on Cabell Avenue. I had to Google it. I didn't realize Cabell Avenue was in the city limits of Clarksburg. It's probably the furthest west street in the city of Clarksburg. I didn't realize it was over there. But, you know, I emailed Steve and Mr. Workman and Mr. Brown, and it was fixed in days. So if you have issues like that, reach out to council, reach out to the mayor, reach out to anybody, and we'll do our best to take care of it. I know we have a lot of issues beyond Cabell Avenue, but we try to get to them when they're brought to our attention. Like to also send a shout out to the fire department for that fire on Clay Street, and quick work putting it out. Again, we have some serious issues with abandoned homes, blight, and it's going to be a long process to get all that taken care of. In regards to the tax incentive, I had Kim put together a document that shows how much money the Central Business District brings into the city every year. Over the last 10 or 12 years, I'm sorry, I don't have the document brought up, it's on my phone, has dropped nearly $700,000 over the last 10 or 12 years. It's at a point where it's about $300,000. I want to challenge this council and anybody who's watching, who's running for council, to bring forth ideas where we can cut our budget and make an attempt to completely eradicate that tax within the Central Business District going forward. So not business just like the brewery or anybody who comes after this, but businesses who already are downtown. We can make a strong case for that. I know it's going to be tough. That's a lot of money, but I think we can figure it out. We got some great staff, and I think we got some great ideas, and we can make that happen. Got a document today from Annette about some board and commission vacancies. For Code Appeals Board, Parking Authority, the Planning and Zoning Commission, several vacancies across all. Again, if you want to get involved in the city and you're not running for council, come talk to us about being on one of these boards. We desperately need people on those boards. Hopefully have a great First Friday and have a happy and safe Easter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I'd like to thank Andrew Hurst coming up. We want to hear from the citizens. And to me, it's all about accountability. If our police, our public works, any department's not doing what they're supposed to, we want to hear about it. And it's all chain of command. Hopefully you get to speak to the chief if it involves the police department, or more importantly, you can speak with our interim city manager here, and he can address any concerns that you might have. And that's Steve Police here. Schedule a time to meet in his office and discuss any of these issues that you want to talk about. We've had the homeless. It's definitely an issue in the city. Drug addiction is definitely an issue. I want to commend our Lou Hortenzio and our mission. We never had a good recovery program, but I think we have a recovery program going on over at the mission now. They've changed the way they're doing business. They're just not taking people in, and they're trying to rehabilitate them and recover them. And where the money goes, again, we have that's all public information. We have opengov.com where you can go and see the complete financial accountability of the city. So that's online through the auditor's office. And if there's, if you need help in looking at that, we have our finance director who could assist you. That's all public documents. You're right to ask those questions, and you're right to get a response. So if you're concerned where this money is going, we just did a budget here. We just approved it in March, sent it for approval to the state. But last year's all that's online. You can go and look and see if you have particular questions of how the money's being spent. Please go and educate yourself on that, and you can work with our finance director, and she could show you where to go and get that information. But we're trying with the streets, with the cleanups. The code public works is out there as we speak, trying to maintain the streets and sidewalks and the curb line with grass cutting and so forth. The abandoned houses have been an issue, and the city manager's working aggressively with the chief of police and the code enforcement to address those issues. That we don't want to see these homes burn and put our neighbors in jeopardy. So we definitely have ramped up those issues. We are aware of them, and we are working on them. So we'll continue to do that. And please come, and if you go to these different folks and you're not getting the answers that you want, come back to us, and we'll look into it a little bit more and see what we could come up with. So just keep doing what you're doing and stay diligent, and hopefully our police is doing what they're supposed to, our public works and our code and so forth. So we want to hold them accountable to make sure they're doing their job. We had our third and final reading for the ordinances with the water stuff. I appreciate the water board coming. That'll be hopefully that's our last reading. We signed a bunch of papers today to make that happen, and so I think everything should be it's approved and done, and hopefully we'll get the projects online and get them taken care of, and just keep diligent and working on our lead line problem. But other than that, we got the first Friday, which hopefully we won't have rain. We'll have a nice first Friday, and hopefully everybody will have a nice Easter. So thank you guys for coming, and happy Easter.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
What time?